grade families. This is Karen Rahill, the principal of DeSales, and also your child's 7th grade technology teacher. Thank you for joining us for our virtual parent-teacher conference informational video due to the fact that we can no longer have everyone in the building because of COVID concerns. So we really appreciate all you've done for your children so far in order for them to get their education both virtually and in person for their learning. I want to tell you a little bit about 7th grade technology, and then I'll pass it over to the other teachers. In 7th grade technology this year, we started the year off with learning about their DeSalesCatholicSchool.org email address so they could log on to Outlook, PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, and Excel. And we did a project on PowerPoint for their summer reading books. Then we've been working on digital citizenship and making good choices online, both for their personal safety and also for the safety of others, and I'm hopefully helping them make good choices when they are online. And the next project we'll do is using the 3D printer to make some Christmas ornaments, hopefully. If you hear the noise in the background while I'm speaking, the 3D printer is currently printing out a project for an 8th grade student, so I apologize if that's a little distracting. But now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Magan, our teacher of 7th grade Spanish.
Hi, I'm Cristina Magan, the new Spanish teacher. For 7th graders, after the initial assessment at the beginning of the year, the first 4 or 5 weeks, I decided that it was necessary to start from the basics and from there work our way up. The students are expected to bring their notebook, fully charged iPad and headphones to class every time we have Spanish, which is once a week. We use different ways for learning, which includes we have one textbook, CISO, Rockalingua, they love Rockalingua, and then every now and then Quizlet. I sent a letter home this week with your kids explaining how to use CISO. Please join it, as it's very important that you keep an eye on them and you're on top of what we're doing in class, the homework, assessments, and other things. They generally have homework every week, once a week, and if the homework is not submitted on time, they will get half of the points. They can make the test corrections, which gives them the chance of getting higher grades. My last expectation in this class is for the students to be respectful and eager learners. There remains a little bit of room for improvement, and we will continue to work on this as a class. They already have improved a lot, so we're still working on that. And please feel free to contact me anytime. The best way to contact me is through email, which is on the website, school website. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Magan. Next, we're going to speak with Mrs. Palumbo, our 7th grade science teacher. Thank you, Mrs. Palumbo.
Hello, Mrs. Palumbo, science teacher. For 7th grade this year, we do physical science. That's half the year is chemistry, the other half is physics. So we do some chemical reactions. We do some work with solutions and determining whether they're acids or bases. And when we get into the physics, we talk a lot about motion and things like how airplanes work, how projectiles work, and what are the laws of motion. The students find that very interesting. They also enjoy the chemical reactions and the acids and bases. One of the problems we do have is still organization skills. If you could make sure, please, that your child has a spiral notebook and a binder and a folder. I'm still seeing students that will take notes and just shove them inside their textbook or jam them into their backpack. So they need to get those notes organized in a binder, and they need both a binder and a spiral notebook and a folder so that they have everything organized. They also need to work on getting assignments turned in on time so that they're not losing points. A lot of the students do the assignments and for some reason they don't get turned in, and then they find them like 3 weeks later and want to turn them in. So stress to them to get everything turned in on time. Assignments are on Seesaw, unless it's something that doesn't lend itself to Seesaw, such as our labs. But most of the assignments will be up on Seesaw, and I give a lot of feedback in the comment section that they should read if they need to make any corrections or changes and resubmit the assignment. If any questions come up when they're working on an assignment, it's best to contact me right away as soon as possible so that I can help them out. So they should email me. Please stress that a lot of students struggle and they don't. I really appreciate the students that will email me with questions so that I can help them. That's very important that they do that soon so that they don't fall behind. Those are the main points that I would stress. And I hope we have a great year this year. Don't hesitate to contact me with any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Palumbo. Next up, we are going to speak with Mrs. McCabe, our art teacher for 7th grade. Mrs. McCabe.
Hello, I'm Mrs. McCabe, art teacher. This year we'll be exploring different art processes, mediums, and art movements. We've spent some time this year finishing up projects that we began last year that I wasn't able to send home. So we've worked on color schemes and our 3D plaster work, which we've been finishing up. That took a lot of time. And then after Thanksgiving, we'll be moving into perspective drawing to continue working on a few things that we did start last year. Currently, the students had a guest speaker this week who joined us via Zoom to talk about a new challenge, the art of COVID, where she took the time to link past pandemic artworks and artists to what could be happening currently, and not just as a negative, but as a positive, and maybe some of the blessings that your children have found in this time. One example was a student today wanted to create an artwork on one of the baseballs that he used all summer with his friends. So one way he could stay connected was through that baseball, and he decided he's going to turn that into an art project. So that should be exciting to see. For remote learners, we'll be doing the same project. I'll be connecting with you with the PowerPoint presentation. So don't worry if you haven't been able to connect with me that way yet. The students' experience in art is influenced by their participation and averaged in with their project grades. They usually do pretty well. They always have enough time if they use their time wisely to get everything done in class. And if you have any questions at all, email is the best form of communication. There's also the DeSales Art Instagram page that you can take a look at if you just want to take a glimpse into some things we've been doing or little videos that I've posted. Thanks for sharing your kids with me, and have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. McCabe. Now we're going to move on to Mrs. Hornqvist, our PE and health teacher for grade 7.
Hi everyone, Mrs. Hornqvist here. I'll start out with health. We're going to cover a variety of topics this year, including but not limited to health and wellness, decision making. We've talked about vaping and tobacco. We're currently on alcohol and finishing that up and moving into other drugs. And we have other units that we'll cover as well. I'm excited to mention that I was able to arrange a virtual guest speaker, similar to what Mrs. McCabe was mentioning. We have somebody on Monday coming from Kids Escaping Drugs via Zoom. And it's nice that while we can't have someone physically come into school, we can still provide a virtual experience for them. So I'm excited to have that. So remote students, make sure that you're looking in your email. Sometimes I reach out to you that way outside of Seesaw. So make sure you're checking your email, especially coming up for that link for the Zoom for the guest speaker. Classes in person and remote will consist of using the Seesaw app and completing some assignments on there, or most of them. Remote students, you have your own section for remote health, and it's only because I send completed notes through that to you that way. If a student is absent, I'll assign the work on Seesaw. So make sure that your students are checking back in to Seesaw for any work that they might have when they're absent, so that this way they're not falling behind and trying to play catch up when they return. I don't assign homework for health. I do provide adequate amount of time in class in order to work on things. So because of that, classwork makes up 50% of your child's grade, and 30% for tests and quizzes, and 20% for projects. So that's how the rundown works for that. So please make sure that your child is turning in assignments, especially ones that are due in class, because that will have a big effect on their grade, since that is the majority of their assignments for me. For PE, lots of things have had to change this year. We are following New York State guidelines that I have, and not sharing equipment and hand sanitizing upon entering and leaving. Any equipment that is shared, we are not using our hands, and I am spraying down with sanitizer in between classes to ensure the safety of the kids here. So for grades, I base them off of 4 components. So it's not looking at your child's talents and deficits. I look at a bigger picture. So first of all, is your child prepared for PE? Do they have the proper shoes? Are they following directions and not staying on task? Are they participating to their fullest potential? And do they demonstrate good sportsmanship, which is a big component for me? They can earn 4 points for each category, totaling 16 points per class. So as far as changing my plans for teaching and what I'm teaching, I'm getting outside as much as I can. The temperature cutoff for me is the 20-degree real feel. So please make sure that your kid is ready to go outside with us. And I'm enjoying this time being able to take them outside as much as possible and giving them some fresh air. So ensuring the safety of your child while they are here and having fun. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through email. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hornqvist. And now we're going to move to the middle school hallway and Mr. Schuster to talk about religion for 7th graders. Mr. Schuster.
Hello, 7th grade. This year is an exciting year. It's by far my favorite subject to teach, and that is all about Jesus. We study something known as Christology, which is basically studying Christ as being fully human, just like us, but also fully divine, just like God. It starts off kind of slow, but halfway through the year, they'll get the idea, and it becomes exciting. They will become very proficient in the Gospels. We studied mostly the Gospel of Matthew, but we also touch in the other Gospels to compare and contrast the different stories. As far as evaluation, this is going to be a little bit different. Mostly projects, little projects. You'll notice so far they've done a project on the Beatitudes, project on the Our Father. Right now, we're in the middle of a project on parables, and over the next week or so, they're going to be presenting their own parable that they developed. Later on, the projects will get a little bit more complicated and like that. Also, we do our daily meditations, and it's amazing how their meditations have grown and matured since last year, so that's exciting. They will have a service work requirement that will work into the framework of what's available and what is not. And of course, we have our masses that they will do several of this year to prepare for and the like. They've really grown up. They're exciting. They ask incredible questions, and I'm totally looking forward to the year. We will be using mostly Seesaw for communication. In 7th grade, it's almost exclusive, the Seesaw. So keep track of that. Their assignments are always on it, and also the notes that I send out to the people that are on remote will appear there also. So here's to a great year, and thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Schuster. Now we're going to move next door to Mrs. Fraz with grade 7 math.
Hello, 7th grade parents. I am Mrs. Fraz, and I teach your child 7th grade math this year. I am also a 7th grade homeroom teacher, so some of them I've had for 2 years in homeroom. So it really has been a joy to watch them grow. They have grown a lot since last year. The 7th grade curriculum is really an extension of the 6th grade curriculum. A lot of the concepts are the same. They are taken to a higher level. We use the Eureka workbooks just like they had last year, and it follows the Common Core New York State Math 7. All of my lessons are either recorded or pre-recorded and put on to YouTube and then onto Seesaw. So they can find all the lessons on Seesaw that have been recorded. And this is great for students to go back and rewatch them if they need to. If the students are absent, they need to go on to Seesaw and take responsibility to complete the work. I update eSchool multiple times a week, so you can see their assignments, you can see how they're doing, see if they're missing any assignments, it's all right there. We're using 2 websites this year, IXL, which they are accustomed to from last year, so there are weekly assignments on IXL. I'm also using Khan Academy. They have logins for that. It's a great resource. It has videos, it has practice. Everything on Math 7 is any concept is on both websites. So when it comes time to have a test or quiz, a lot of them say, oh, I don't have any homework tonight because it's a test. We don't study for a math test. Well, they absolutely need to study for a math test. They need to go back to the lessons, go through the questions, use IXL, use Khan Academy, and make sure they understand the concepts that would be on that particular test. All my students are given the opportunity to succeed. They just need to put forth the effort. The best lines of communication to me would be through email. If anytime they need help, they or you send me an email and we can schedule a time to help them. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to teach your children. They really are wonderful children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Frost. Now we are going to go to social studies, 7th grade with Mrs. Lori Asher.
Hello, grade 7 parents. It's me, Mrs. Asher, the early American history teacher. This year's history is all about the birth of our country, creating a new government, the Constitution, and learning about the people who shaped our nation and expanding westward. And of course, there's a few wars in between that. They will get a great idea of how our government works and how important the founding fathers were to establishing our freedoms and liberties. We are fortunate to be meeting 5 days a week, and I sure hope this can continue for the benefit of our students. They really are doing well, and it's great to be able to work with them in person. If you ever have any questions on missing work or grades, please access Seesaw or eSchool to keep yourself informed. I post my weekly schedule to Seesaw every Sunday evening. Seesaw is even beneficial to days when students are out. There's always work each day. Seesaw has all the worksheets, notes, videos, and assignments. You can contact me through email as well. As 7th graders, we hope we can get them to be a little bit more independent and responsible, recognize due dates, and pay attention to detail. We would like them to we would like them to take the initiative to approach or communicate with us as their teachers. Ask for help and use time wisely in class and in Flex. And I do have some of them for Flex, so I can help. I'm praying for continued success in the classroom, and we are working well together. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Asher. And our final teacher to present today is Mrs. Amanda Soliski for our ELA grade 7.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Selesky. I teach 7th grade ELA. This is my 4th year here at DeSales, and I'm happy to be here teaching your kids. Our ELA curriculum focuses on reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and everything that we do addresses one of those tasks, and hoping to help the students grow in these areas, because we want them to have a strong foundation to be able to become effective communicators in both writing and speaking. And these are the skills that they'll carry with them to high school and to college and into life. The 7th graders are given the opportunity to read some really great pieces of literature. They just finished reading A Long Walk to Water, and they were really moved by the story, so much so that they wanted to find a way to help some of the children in Africa who are affected by the lack of clean water. So we ended up partnering with an organization called Uprising that helps children in Uganda, and your kids raised $397 to help this cause. I was so proud of them, and you should be too. After we finish our short story unit that we are currently in, we're going to be reading Inside Out and Back Again. We're going to study some poetry and then wrap up the year with The Giver, which is always a favorite of the 7th graders. With regard to specific coursework, I post daily on Seesaw. If we were to go to a distance learning situation, this would be the platform that the students would use to receive and submit their assignments from me. I look forward to watching your children learn and grow this year, whether we're in person or distance learning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of your child's education.
Thank you, Mrs. Selesky, and I echo what she says. Thank you so much, parents, for having your children at DeSales. Keep the prayers up that we remain a COVID negative school and that we can stay in school for in-person learning. I'm grateful to all that you do with your children, and I'm here anytime. If you ever have any questions, you can certainly email me or pick up the phone and give me a call, and I'd be happy to talk to you. So thank you again, and take care.